So let her roll.
Yeah.
We are recording.
Thank you. All right, everyone ready to go?
We are.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. This is the Suamico Village Board meeting for Monday, August 19th, 2024. The time, it is 6 p.m. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And just a reminder, anyone who wishes to come forward and speak, please provide your name and address for the public record. All right, that being said, I would look for a motion to approve this evening's agenda or discussion thereof.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Schneider has approved this evening's agenda, seconded by Trustee Romez. Any further discussion or questions on the agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Let's stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Why does it keep saying two widgets? It's so weird.
Terrific.
I have one thing for public appearances if no one else does.
So at this time, we are on to item number 5. Item number 5 is public appearances. So if there is anyone in the audience this evening who is here for an item not on the agenda, and you would like to share your thoughts on that, this would be your opportunity to come forward, share your name and address, and let us know what's on your mind. Just be aware, no action can be taken on the item this evening. However, it could be referred back to staff for a future meeting. Is there anyone who wishes to come forward and speak to an item not on the agenda? I do have a request. Seeing no one, I do have a request from Trustee Romas. Trustee Romas, the floor is yours.
Okay, so since this is Trustee Schneider's last meeting, correct? Just like to say thank you, Trustee Schneider, for all of your hard work and time here. You've been a great example, and it's been fun when we don't see eye to eye. You know, it's a good thing, I think. It's healthy for a board. So I just wanted to say thank you for your service.
We'll miss it.
And I hope you are the one who makes all motions tonight.
I don't know about that.
All right. Anyone else? I guess we could probably, I wouldn't speak for all the board, but we could all echo those feelings. It's been a privilege to serve with you in this capacity, and even though we don't agree on everything, it's been wonderful having your input, and I hope you continue to be part of the community and committees as we move forward. Is there anyone else?
I wouldn't go.
Agreed, ditto.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Trustee Schneider.
I really will miss it, and I appreciate all the differing views and whatnot, and I'm kind of bummed that I can't continue, so, but thank you.
I'm sure there are great things ahead for you.
You can always run again.
All right, we are moving on to item number 6. Item number 6 this evening is the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of previous minutes of the village board meeting dated August 5th, 2024. Item B, July 2024 municipal court report. Item C, July 2024 treasurer's report. Item D, July 2024 animal control report. Item E, July 2024 recreation report. Before I ask a motion, I did have one item on here, unless someone else has another item they'd like to discuss from the consent agenda. No? So for Director Lemke, I've really appreciate your reports, and I like to see the progression of how things are moving along. Just one suggestion that might be statistically maybe at budget time, if you were entertaining an idea to make a case for additional funds for, say, a shelter or something, if you could look at year over year, what's the shelter usage? What's been the trajectory of the usage of the shelters year over year? In all likelihood, COVID was down, right, in 2020, 2019. But I just kind of wonder where we are historically. Are we seeing more use of our outside shelters year over year? Or are we seeing less use of our shelters? And by getting that information as a person who's responsible, one person who's responsible for the budget or a piece of the budget, that would help to give me direction in terms of, do I invest in these shelters? Do I entertain the idea of future shelters? Are these shelters fully utilized, 50% utilized, 25% utilized? Do I need shelters at all? So that's a suggestion. It's not a not a request, it's a suggestion, it's for you to look at and see if there's any value in doing that. The other thing I wanted to mention with regard to Park and Rec is, the use, the yoga in the park or yoga outside.
Outdoor yoga.
Outdoor yoga, that'll work. And I know the weather wasn't necessarily conducive, but I saw, there's just a tremendous number of people who seem to attend that and appreciate that. And the window for that is relatively short. Is that because the funding is from North Shore Bank?
Yeah, we typically do, 4 classes, and then they do 4 classes at Howard, so. we
Oh, okay, I see,
kinda
I see.
Split it up, so yeah, the whole series is like 8 classes, but since Yoga Loft is the partnership business.
Yeah, you want to be
they have
conscious of their.
locations in both, and
Okay, well, so that is a partner in the whole process. So we're not providing a service that in some way is taking away business from another one of our local businesses. They're in coordination with us.
Correct.
Excellent. Those are the only questions I had. Anyone else? If no one has any additional questions, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
And second.
We have a motion from trustee Schneider to approve this evening's consent agenda and a second from trustee Romas. Any other further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Okay, item number 7 this evening is is administrative items. We are on to item 7A, which is a resolution 24010, a retirement resolution commending none other than Kay Magar. Mr. Administrator,
Oh, this is you.
I just didn't know if you had any additional comments or anything you wanted to share.
I'll follow up.
Well, you're retiring, so you don't necessarily have to listen to it all,
Go out in a storm. Just go out in a storm.
Just grab all the donuts.
All right.
I'm out.
So I will read the resolution and then trustees, as you wish. This is Resolution 24010, a retirement resolution commending Kay Magar. The Board of Trustees of the Village of the Board of Trustees of the Village Board of Suamico do resolve as follows. Whereas Kay Magar has steadfastly and devotedly served the Village of Suamico as village treasurer from 2004 to 2016 and intermittently since 2021, and whereas she has provided exemplary service to the Village of Suamico, having contributed practical and valuable skills as village treasurer, performing amongst many other duties the oversight of over 15 municipal budget cycles. You should get a Purple Heart for that. And whereas she retires from the Village of Suamico on August 31st, 2024, after almost 15 years of dedicated service to the Village of Suamico, now therefore be it resolved that the Village of Suamico recognizes Kay Magar's faithful service with a commendation and expression of gratitude, and hereby makes this commendation a part of the official village record, adopted this day, the 19th of August, 2024. Thank you. Could I get a resolution to approve this?
So moved.
And seconded.
I have a resolution from trustee Schneider to approve Resolution 24010, a retirement resolution commending Kay Magar, and I have a second from trustee Romas. Any other further comments or questions?
Thank you for coming back when we needed you.
Yeah, thank you.
I've enjoyed my years.
I'll
We
say,
have your picture, break glass in case of financial emergency.
yeah, right. Kay, it's been a real pleasure.
I thought maybe to throw darts at.
It's been a real pleasure, Kay.
Column A, column B.
The way you always seem to have stuff right at the tip of your mind, the way you look forward with the financial stuff, it was just a pleasure. Even if you were faking it, it was really good. So thank you for that.
All right, we have a motion on the floor this evening to approve this resolution commending Kay Magar for her long service to the village, and we have that seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying
I will take a roll call.
Sorry.
Trustee Andrews.
Aye.
Trustee Eckert.
Aye.
Trustee Neto.
Aye.
Trustee Romas.
Aye.
Trustee Schneider.
Aye.
Trustee Stevens.
Aye.
President Van Rossum.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, 7-0.
And on behalf of staff, Kay, we really appreciate all the work you've done, and coming back and helping us out the last 18 months has been hugely important for us, and you've bridged the gap to the next finance director, and you've put us in a really good place moving forward. And enjoy your retirement.
Yes, my second retirement.
Make sure
Pretty
you do
darn
it right.
good. Most people only get one. All right.
Kind of like The Godfather Part 3. They keep bringing me back.
That's right. Okay, we've got a
All
project.
right, so we are off to item 7B. The 7B this evening is the village treasurer appointment. Administrator Kaker.
Thank you. So as previously directed by the village board, Katie Demeny has been offered and accepted the position of full-time finance director / treasurer and is scheduled to start on Tuesday, September 10th of 2024. Consistent with our municipal code, the village board should formally adopt Mrs. Demeny as the Village of Suamico treasurer. She holds a bachelor's of business administration and master's in professional accountancy from the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. She currently serves the city of Appleton as their deputy finance director and has been with the city since 2017. Previous to Appleton, Katie worked for Schenck, otherwise known as CLA, as a senior accountant, and amongst other responsibilities, prepared audits for governmental entities, I think including Suamico. So perfect experience. She is here tonight just to show her face. I appreciate her showing up. But the action by the village board would be to appoint Katie Demeny as the Village of Suamico treasurer effective September 10th, 2024. Any questions?
I don't have any questions for you necessarily, but for who were the trustees who participated in the process?
Stevens did.
Stevens. So any comments from you?
No, I think it was an amazing process. The interview was tough with all the different people staring at you and asking all different questions, like going around in a merry-go-round on questions, but I thought you fielded all those questions with integrity and honesty and authentic, so I look forward to having you here.
And for my part, I was very happy with the interview. That you bring a good amount of energy, right? So I'm thinking there's some great things to come as well. So I'm excited to have you on board. Thank you.
Any other comments from the board or questions?
Welcome, Katie.
Welcome, man.
All right, hearing
I'll
none.
make a motion to appoint Katie Demeny as Village of Suamico treasurer.
Second.
So we have the motion on the floor from trustee Schneider, seconded by trustee Romas, to approve the appointment of Katie Demeny to the Village of Suamico treasurer's position effective September 10th. Any other further comments or questions? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We look forward to you starting.
Welcome aboard.
You don't have to stay the rest if you don't want to.
Yeah, we won't grade you down on that at this point. You've got the job, go home. Okay. Item 7C, well, you're going to be here long enough in the future, so I'm just saying, take advantage of it while you
Looking
can.
forward to budget season.
Item 7C this evening is the trustee vacancy options. Administrator Kaker.
Thank you. So with the resignation of trustee Schneider at the end of the month, the village board will need to decide how and if they want to fill the vacancy. And there are a number of options available to you. One could be holding a special election, and it actually wouldn't be in November, it'd probably be in December. But the idea would be, the option is to hold a special election to fill the remainder of the term, which would be it expires in April of next year, or appoint a resident to fill the remainder of the term. And that option would presumably include an advertisement for applications and interviews by the board prior to taking action. Or you can do nothing and operate with 6 trustees until the April 2025 election. And I did include trustee Schneider's resignation letter in the packet and some supporting documents from the League of Wisconsin Municipalities. Are there any questions for me?
Just, I lost track of what you said there. Did you say that it would be in November, or did you change that to September?
So we would, so the special election, Michelle, maybe you can explain this all better than I can.
Right, if you have a special election and you have at least 3 that turn in papers, you're going to have a primary. So the primary, if we shove to do this, we possibly might be able to do this for November and include it on the November election ballot. We are in a very tight schedule right now. With that, the county will be getting us the ballots for the November election on the 19th of September or prior. So we're really on a tight schedule with that. But if you had to have a primary, that would be November, and then you'd have to hold a special election outside of that. So with that said, looking at some of the costs, it's going to be well into probably $5,000. I did give Sky an estimate, but it would probably be well beyond that because I didn't include cost of the envelopes and, some of the other costs that are going to be involved. So you're looking at least $5,000 to hold that special election.
And you can't hold that special election until 40 days after the primary. So you're
Right.
going to be in mid-December before you would have an election to fill a seat that expires
Yeah.
in April of '25.
So the timing just really isn't right for it. And then, again, of course, if we do have a primary, we would be looking at February for our primary, and then April for the election to do the same process. So really, you're saving maybe a couple of weeks on having somebody in that role, so.
If we choose to not take the option of appointing, is that a decision that we can reverse at a later time by board approval?
Sure.
That's all I had. All the questions I had.
Anyone else?
Well, obviously, I don't think we should ever appoint an elected person. And I don't think we should spend money for a special election, so let's just wait. Do nothing. Less is more.
Well, I have one suggestion. If we maybe reached out to a couple past trustees, Jason Ward and Dan Rodden, to see if they would fulfill this gap. But other than that, if they choose not to, then I guess I'm kind of going to not filling it and let it go till April for an election.
Well, I'll weigh in here. So if we look at this right now, we look at the situation that we have. We would be looking at September, October, November, December, January, February, March, before we got another trustee in here if we left the position open. Yeah, well, they would start in April with the April election, right? So we would be leaving a seat open in village government for 7 months with 3 and 3. And we know how on this board, we have had times when we don't agree on things. It's just the way it is, when we want different viewpoints. I just see for 7 months, I don't think that that's the right course, because I think that there's a lot of things, budget things, other issues that could come up where we're going to be deadlocked for 7 months. That's more than half a year. So does that seem, in my mind, that doesn't seem like the best way to necessarily govern. So that being said, I agree with Trustee Eckert, $5,000 for a special election for somebody to sit in a seat for 3 months that's foolhardy. You might as well just, that's not a good way to spend money. And trying to think of other solutions on this, let's talk about some numbers real quick, because it always comes down to this. So we just had an election in April. We had 3 individuals run for 2 seats. We didn't have 4 individuals run. We didn't have 5 individuals run. We didn't have 6 individuals run. Trustee Rodden left this position because he was too busy with work. Trustee Jason Ward also left because he was too busy with work. We have somebody else who's leaving because, work life has taken a priority, as it should, although this is a job too. But we do know that there was, I go back to the individual who ran and got over 1,000 votes, 27% of the overall vote. And I think we should reach out to that individual who 1,081 individuals voted for in the last election for trustees. We should reach out to that individual and give them the opportunity to represent those 1,000 people on the village board, and hopefully he learns enough, and hopefully we're not too abrasive to him, that he would decide to stick around and actually run in an election. To me, that gives the village an opportunity to see an individual who over 1,000 folks were going to vote for, we're still doing diligence and providing governance to the village with an individual who, while he wasn't elected to your seat or to your seat, he did have the support of over 1,000 individuals in the village. So that's basically my thought process on it. I'm one vote.
So I'll just say that that's okay that we reach out to individuals, but I do believe we need to make it open. I don't think you're saying we shouldn't make it open. We should advertise. If people are interested, they should have an opportunity to come before the board as well. Would you agree?
Doesn't that get kind of, to your point, though, I mean, they have no representation of the community. And so the person that ran against Michelle and I had the 1,100 people representing that person. So I think if you're going to do that, then that just is a bit of a challenge.
So my position on that is that we have an open position to fill, and it wouldn't be, just like if we were putting out a public bid. If we don't make it open to the public as a whole to fill it, then we haven't given a fair chance to somebody who might be interested in running. That's my reason for it. That's my rationale.
I'm not against that. I'm not opposed to it. I think that there's a lot of weight that comes along with an individual who got almost 1,100 votes. You know, if I was taking that calculus into place versus somebody who walks in and, why didn't you run? Because for those of you who run, you know this better than anybody else. I don't care if it's trustee of the village or whatever the position is. Running is hard. It's just hard. It's hard getting out there and shaking hands. It's hard answering questions. It's hard sitting up here sometimes, most of the time.
And I agree. And the board would be able to take that into account. Like,
Sure.
there's not going to be some metric that I have to say, hey, I can't take such and such into account. The fact that this person received that many votes may be important to one person, but not another. And as a board, we would decide, right? Is it a motion by the board to appoint, or is it the
Yes.
president? Okay.
No, it would be the board would
Yeah,
have to.
so in that case, I mean, the reality is, let's talk reality, right? We put an advertisement out there, we maybe reach out to people, whatever. How many people are really gonna show up to, who knows? But then we can, as a board, evaluate each position. In that sense, too, what we're doing is we're serving the public, because we're here as elected officials. This is more towards Michelle's comment, which I understand. We're elected to, as elected people, we will appoint a person. So in a way, the public has spoken. And that's all. Thank you.
Others?
I just don't think we should be appointing anybody. Or making it just sounds like a complicated mess. I just think doing nothing and waiting till April. Because you're done in April, right, Mike? So I mean that,
If we were to move forward with Michelle's idea, and we found that we are in stalemates, can we change this decision at a later date?
That's why,
So if we wanted to move forward, and we've got a lot of things in front of us, and we find ourselves in your situation, that we are really stuck, then maybe that's when we revisit that. That's another option. But the individual we're talking about too also sits on the planning and zoning, right? So he's representing the community, not only wanted to run for this position, but also is very familiar with how government runs in this community.
And that would also, well, if he were to be appointed to this board position, that would take his position on planning and zoning. We would have to find another citizen to take the position on planning and zoning. Or we could move him, he's already been on planning and zoning, we could move him into another position and move another trustee to planning and zoning too. Either way. I don't disagree with it. My only concern is if we get to a 3-3, let's say we get to a 3-3 vote on law enforcement, then at that point, do we pull the trigger and say, hey, we need to interview some new people, and then who do we have coming in here? Maybe local law enforcement individuals who are now applying for the position because it's a contract for the Brown County Sheriff's Department or something. And I agree with you, trustee Eckert, in terms of, it's very important to keep the integrity of our elections, very important. But I am so concerned that we get to a 3-3 tie that we can't govern.
It really has not happened often,
It hasn't happened often,
no.
but we haven't had 3-3 very often either.
I guess I do have one more question. So is the quorum based on 7, or is the quorum based then on 6?
7.
Okay. It works out to the same no.
You would still need 4, even at
Yeah,
6.
we would need 4 of the 6 to show up in order for it to be a quorum.
In a way, I like the idea of applicants, putting it out there for applicants, because there aren't people breaking down the door to come up here and serve the village on commissions or on the village board. So can we get interest? Can we show folks the opportunity or give folks the opportunity to experience and learn more about village government? I think it's a good
We
thing.
were functioning with 6 for quite a while, and it was okay.
When was the last time we had 6?
When Mike had his,
when Pam John was president.
Oh, right. No, well,
oh,
when you were out.
and when Mike was out too.
We didn't, yeah, there was a period we got by. I guess I'm one vote. So we can go around and if there's anybody who wants to make a motion,
So in order for a motion to pass, we would still have to have 4 out of the 6 if we only have 6 trustees. So we'd be looking at essentially a supermajority for every motion to pass. That's why I think, we rarely disagree. But I think we should look at the appointment process. I think that because we would have to have a supermajority on everything, that's not how we're set up. We're set up with majority votes in general, so. That's my opinion. Now I'm done finally. He's like, yeah, you
I
are,
don't-
sure.
I don't believe that. Anyone else?
Yeah, Alex, what has been the history of this situation in other villages? I mean, this isn't the first time this has happened.
No, I see it happening quite frequently, and there is no standard. Everyone takes the approach differently, and it depends on how long that term will be vacant. If it was open for a year and a half, you'd probably see a special election. With this tight of a time frame, you don't normally see special elections to fill a seat for just a couple of months.
7 months.
Well, you wouldn't get somebody in until December.
Oh, yeah, right. Then it would only be a couple of months with a special election.
So the 2 options that are on the table, we can do nothing. Or what would how many months difference if we ran a special election versus appointing somebody? What would be the,
Well, in theory, you could appoint somebody at the September 16th meeting, and they could sit in
Yeah.
that meeting. And then with the special election, they wouldn't be voted in until mid-December-ish. They probably start in January. Do we have a first week of January meeting, or is that on? Yep, we would. So they would start January 6th. And then they would cover January, February, March, and April, because technically that term goes through the second meeting in April. So they'd have 4 months if they were elected in December.
so I guess my perspective, that doesn't make a lot of sense. And so we're really down to do nothing or an appointment. And it would take multiple months, wouldn't it, to appoint someone? Because we'd have to have this board go through interviews, just like we did with the candidate for the
Oh, no,
treasury.
typically how I see that done is there'll be an advertisement that goes out that says, hey, if you're interested in being appointed to a trustee, here's some background information, submit your application, and then they would come on the meeting of September 16th, and they'd sit up here, and ideally, you'd all ask the same question, and then you can make your decision that meeting, and they can come up to the dais and sit that meeting, so they could start September 16th.
I guess kind of my closing argument is, if we're going to go down the appointed route, I mean, there's only one person I can think of, and that's Andy, who ran in this before. And he's got 1,200 votes of the community. It would be hard for me to sit here and interview somebody that has not put that effort into it and is represented by the community. So, my opinion is if we're thinking about an appointment, he would be my first recommendation that we speak to and see what his interest is, and we might be back to, doesn't matter if he says he's not interested.
Yeah, we might be. Anyone else?
Well, Andy did put the time and effort in to running at least, because I'm not in favor of just appointing someone who never put any effort in to run for a spot, just because it's a lot of work running for these, and to just automatically hand someone the spot without at least doing some work, where Andy did the work at least. So, and my first mention of Jason Ward and Dan Ron, are those totally off the table?
I haven't reached out to them.
I don't think they would have to be off the table. I mean, you could throw it out there, they could apply, right? They'd have the right to apply like anyone else, same as Andy Condon, anyone else. Would that, or are you talking about directly reaching out to them?
Just directly reaching out to them and then let it go to the election in April, that they're just fulfilling it for this period of time.
Trustee Nettle, last word?
I say we give Andy a shot. I think we need 7 people up here. That's
Okay, anybody want to entertain a motion? Otherwise, I can, do you have one formulated, Mr. Stevens, or you want me to give it a shot?
Well, I'm trying to think how this would be. I mean, is there kind of stage one that's just to see what his interest is?
Well, I think what we do is, I think we put it out as applicants, and he's going to see that as well, right?
Because there's nothing stopping you from calling him and saying, hey, why don't you apply?
Well,
I'll make the motion.
okay,
I'd like to make a motion that we choose to appoint a resident to fill the remainder of Mike Schneider's term, and that process would be that there's a period of 2 weeks that we advertise and allow for applications, and then as a board, we would interview the applicants, and then based on a simple majority of the board, we would approve the person who is to be appointed.
Or could be appointed,
We
depending
would
on
approve that
applicants.
person to be appointed.
So I have a question then.
Sure, yeah.
Is, what happens if we're not comfortable with any candidates that come forward?
Then it requires a simple majority
Okay.
to vote them in, and if no candidates come in and we're not comfortable, no candidate would get the vote.
I would see that motion as being, at this time, I would like to offer a motion that we do not choose an applicant to fulfill the term of trustee Schneider, something like that.
Okay.
I mean, that's definitely an option.
Yep.
You
What?
look,
Wait.
so we go to the motion, just paraphrasing what trustee Romas had said. We go out there 2 weeks, we put a notification out there for 2 weeks saying, applicants invited to put in an application to potentially fulfill the balance of the term for trustee Schneider. We have that out there for 2 weeks. On the September 16th meeting, those individuals who applied come here. We talk to them, we go through them. If, for some reason, none of the applicants that have come here, we don't have consensus or aren't comfortable with it, anyone on the board could offer the motion that says, at this time, I don't want to choose any of these applicants to fulfill this position. I'd like to leave the position unfilled. And then we would vote on it. That would be a motion, there'd be a second, we'd vote on it, and if the board votes in the majority to leave it open, then that's where it goes,
Is this a regular scheduled meeting? It's the regular?
September 16th.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it's wrong. to appoint somebody to an elected spot, but no, I don't agree with that, but I get what you're saying now.
Yeah, I was just clarifying.
So how do you recap that, with all that?
So the motion was
If
made.
you listen to the video.
Go ahead. You want to recite the
Sure,
motion?
so the motion is made to appoint a resident to fill the remainder of the term. That's part one. Part two of the motion is that the position be advertised on the village's website. And then the applicants would then come to the board meeting on the 16th, and then they would be interviewed by the board. The board would then vote on the applicants, and with a simple majority, the person appointed would take a seat on the board. And I do see a complication with this. What if there are 3 applicants and we like all 3?
Okay, let's cross that bridge when we get
Yeah.
to it.
I guess the question would be, do you think 2 weeks that's pretty short?
I think it's enough time. I mean, that'll give you enough time to call Rodden and call Ward, right? That'll give you enough time
And
to call,
Condon.
and,
Condon, yeah.
you'll be able to call the people you want, say, hey, I don't want the application process to be painful.
Right.
Basically, would you like to be a trustee? Yes. Okay.
Well, we do have a form that's
All right.
an application for any committee and commission, and I would just cross out those words and say
Okay.
village board, and they can fill out
That
that.
seems like a very sensible path.
So you don't see anything wrong with that? We're going through all this, we're interviewing them, and we pick the person we like.
I don't see a problem with it.
mean, that just
But
seems
here's
so
why,
odd.
trustee Eckert, the reason I don't see a problem with it is that we are elected officials. So we are here to represent the citizens of Suamico. In a situation like this where there's a trustee who's abandoning us, we are trusted by the citizens of Suamico to speak for them in a sense, right? So we are voting for them to carry that forward. That's why I'm okay with it. Okay, it's one of our roles, and it's statutorily okay. The statutes say it's okay, and it makes sense because in all levels of government, there's an appointment process.
And in its purest form, you have an individual who ran who got almost 1,100 votes for the village of Suamico. So-
And when there was a person who, when I ran against Mike and I, and she got like 900, I think, you know? There are people out there that have run.
All right, well, we've got a motion on the floor. Do I have a second to trustee Romas's motion?
Second.
Who gave me that? Second, oh, from trustee Stevens, thank you.
Roll call, please.
Yeah, thank you. Could we have a roll call on this, please? I think we've had enough
Absolutely.
discussion.
I'll be abstaining.
Really?
Okay.
That's unethical.
Trustee Eckert,
Nay.
trustee Neto,
I,
trustee Gomez,
Aye.
trustee Schneider,
Abstain.
abstaining, trustee Stevens,
Aye.
trustee Andrews,
Aye.
President Van Rossum,
Aye.
5-1-1.
And if I may, logistically, for the interview questions, does it sound like a decent plan that I'll send an email to the board and you reply all with any questions that you want asked, so you all don't come with the same question? I don't have any concerns about open meeting laws because you're not making a decision. You're just saying these are the questions that we would like to be asked in open session. Does that sound decent?
Works for me. Everybody else?
When do you need those by? Like tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say by when, I'll put them in the email, but probably Wednesday, September 11th, so that we'll put the board packet together. And we can even advertise those questions so the candidates know what they're being asked.
Yeah, we can't bring people in here and not have them understand the questions that we're going
So
to
we
ask.
can
So
have that ahead of time.
we got to have that before the.
So we agree.
Okay.
And I hope that some people that come to these meetings constantly might throw their hat in as well.
All right.
That'll teach you to come to the meetings.
Okay, we're good?
There is eye contact happening over in the corner over there.
So we've, are we moving on to the next item? Thank you. So item number 8A is Pristine Lane Roadway Acceptance, Director Smits.
All right, thank you. Pristine Lane development is approaching completion, nearly vegetated, and is ready to become available for buyers. Staff has been inspecting the project as it has been constructed and working with the developer to ensure all aspects are being met. Village Board needs to accept the development for formality purposes so that our building department may issue building permits. This acceptance will be contingent on a final punch list of items, but will be completed by the end of summer. We do have a 1-year warranty on all the work that has been performed. The village has authorized payment from the developer for the work, and the contractors and the village has been paid for their time. The Village Board should approve or deny the Pristine Lane development as it currently stands and allow building department to release building permits.
Any questions for Director Smits?
If there's no discussion, I'll make the motion for the village board to accept the Pristine Lane development as it currently stands and allow building permits to be released.
I'll second.
We've got a motion on the floor from trustee Schneider to accept the Pristine Lane development as it currently stands and allowing permits to be released, and that has been seconded by trustee Romas. Is there any further questions or discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Neto.
Aye.
Trustee Romas.
Aye.
Trustee Schneider.
Aye.
Trustee Stevens.
Aye.
Trustee Andrews.
Aye.
Trustee Eckert.
Aye.
President Van Rossum.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Very good. Item 8C this evening, Vickery Meadows Water Main Easement Amendment. Director Smits, twice in one
Yeah,
night.
Pretty good here. The developers of the Vickery Meadows condominiums have changed the layout of the site to better accommodate the use of the developable area within the property and to incorporate the stormwater management facility required. Along with the change in building layout and location, the water main on the site will need to be relocated. Staff has been working with our attorney on how to best handle that relocation because of the existing condo plat having the easement that needs to be amended. Included in your packet is the Vickery Meadows Condominium Addendum 2 and Resolution 24011. Also in your packet is the amendment to the water main easement and an easement exhibit showing the water main easement's new location. So tonight, we would be looking for a motion to approve Resolution 24011, approving the addendum for the Vickery Meadows condominium plat. And the reason we're doing that is to modify the layout of the proposed structures on the property to allow for the addition of the retention pond. So the original condo plat did not have that incorporated into the design. Things changed, so the new design incorporates it all. But again, the original plat had different style of buildings proposed, so what the resolution will be for. And then the second motion would be to actually approve the amendment to the water main easement.
Who's paying to relocate that water main?
The developer. Yes, all costs associated to the project are developer funded.
Are there any other questions for Director Smits?
You have two more.
Do you think there'll be problem with the driveways on Velp or busy traffic?
No.
Okay.
I might have even asked that already,
That's,
and
nope, I think it'll be fine. It's 35 and there's plenty of businesses around. It's not, a wide open highway. There's other things that restrict flow of traffic through there, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal.
Other questions, discussion? If not, I'd offer a motion to approve Resolution 24011, approving Addendum 2 for the Vickery Meadows condominium plat. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from trustee Schneider. Any other further questions or discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Romas.
Aye.
Trustee Schneider.
Aye.
Trustee Stevens.
Aye.
Trustee Andrews.
Aye.
Trustee Eckert.
aye.
Trustee Neto.
Aye.
President Van Rossum.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, 7-0.
All right, so item number 2, we need a motion to approve or reject the amendment to the water main easement.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
So we have the motion from trustee Schneider to approve the amendment to the water main easement, and we have the second from trustee Romas. Any further questions or discussion from the board? Hearing none, may I have a roll call on this as well?
Trustee Schneider.
Aye.
Trustee Stevens.
Aye.
Trustee Andrews.
Aye.
Trustee Eckert.
Aye.
Trustee Neto.
Aye.
Trustee Romas.
Aye.
President Van Rossum.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, 7-0.
Thank you. Item number 9 this evening is discussion on any future agenda items. Is there any discussion on future agenda items?
Yeah, I'd like to suggest maybe that we get an update on how the water project, the water tower project is doing. I know that they're deep in engineering and how they're doing relative to the design and anything that new discoveries. So any type of update, I think, would be helpful.
Sounds good.
Anything else?
I want to just let everybody out there know, patronize the businesses that are going through all that construction. And
I would echo that. That is really some tough.
everybody, you can get through to everybody, but it's not real easy.
No,
But you can get through.
no.
Is that road across from Town Line open yet?
No,
Yeah, the C
it's
one.
blocked off, no.
No,
Not
nothing's
door, yeah.
open.
No, it's blocked.
That was planned to be open though
It
during,
was kind of planned, but it did not work.
Okay,
It was restricted.
is there?
I
no-
will make my last motion to adjourn.
Trustee Mike Schneider has made his final motion to adjourn his final Village of Suamico.
Well, just a clarification, you are resigning August 31st. Are you making the August 29th?
Quite possibly, yes.
Never mind.
Put it this way, cover my bases.
all these nice things.
For
I
a
said
formal,
about you
for a
are gonna be
formal
back.
meeting,
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to adjourn this evening's meeting. Is there a second? I have a second from trustee Andrews. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you.
make
Thank
sure
you,
you
everybody.
grab a donut on the way out.
Will do.
Thanks for coming, David. And we'll